Well, a very good morning, and we are coming to you live from Pride Inn Hotel Flamingo in Mombasa, where the 9th Regional Conference for the Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis will be starting today to discuss matters on how to strengthen the sector, especially matters that will be discussed include how to get policies and also issues to do with innovation. With me here is the Executive Director for KIPPRA, who is none other than Dr. Elda Onsomu. I think I've pronounced it well. Welcome to our live interviews. And maybe just before we begin, you can just give us an insight of this conference.
Thank you, and to all, welcome to our KIPPRA Annual Regional Conference, which is taking place in Mombasa starting today up to Friday, 22nd May 2026. This is a very important conference that is bringing together stakeholders from all walks of life. These include policymakers, researchers, academia, state actors, non-state actors, to discuss critical issues that surround value chains development. Hence, the theme for this conference is enhancing and strengthening value chains for inclusive growth. This conference is also going to help us come up with evidence-based recommendations, interventions, initiatives that are going to help us as a nation to implement the national development agenda that is aimed at job creation and also ensuring that we improve productivity and competitiveness.
Because when you say the the value chains, most of the time we've been concentrating on, of course, the agriculture and manufacturing. So currently we're also seeing the fishing and also aquaculture coming in. But from an implementation and policy perspective, how is KIPPRA advancing this value chain?
From a policy dimension, KIPPRA is advancing these value chains through evidence generation, through ensuring that we are able to bring together partners and practitioners in various nodes of value chains, starting from agriculture, manufacturing, services, and other emerging sectors which include the digital economy. We also have issues to do with climate change, mobility, markets, linking production to consumers, and also value chains that have come up in areas of logistics. This will help us ensure that we are able to enhance the production systems and also linking what is being produced to consumers through strong market systems, through strong logistics development, and ensuring that nothing is wasted during the production process until when it is consumed. Through this conference also, we are going to tackle sectors that are critical for quality job creation, especially for the youth. This relates to sectors like digital economy and also micro and small enterprises that have proved to be very, very critical in value chains development, in processing, and ensuring that we add value in the products that we produce as a nation.
One will ask if blue economy is part of these policies that you to discuss.
Yes, the blue economy is part of what we are going to discuss in this conference. And this is a very critical sector, especially in the coastal region and in the parts that surround our lake, whereby the production of fish, for instance, has very, very important nodes where production takes place. Before processing, we are able to create additional jobs by improving the quality of our maritime products, including transport, logistics. We have production of fish and also production of other products that come along with the blue economy. The conference is also going to go further to look at the various global development interventions that affect development of value chains, especially in the developing economies where Kenya is included. This includes the role of the external economy and also how to ensure that as we focus on value chain development, particularly in the blue economy, we are able to support sectors like logistics, storage, and ensuring that we have minimal wastage of our produce.
What are some of the challenges in this development of the value chain?
Various value chains face diverse challenges. One of them is low quality produce and high wastage. This then means that even if we invest in production, if we do not take care of how this produce is transferred from the production point to the processing point to the consumption point, then we are likely to lose a lot in our Kenyan value chains. This then gives us scope to enhance development of policies and interventions that are aimed at ensuring that we look at the value chain in totality, right from production to processing to marketing to consumption. Another area that comes up very key that needs to be addressed is the area of multi-sectoral approaches to value chains. Each value chain does not operate as a single item. There are interlinkages, particularly when you start from production, you go to processing, and then you transition to logistics, marketing, which is very important for us to get value for money after the production processes.
Over time, I think the issue of middlemen has also been a big challenge. Most Kenyans saying sometimes middlemen reap more than even these producers that we are trying to support. Maybe you also have some of the policies that you will be coming up with to address this.
In any production process, we have various actors. And this is a space where middlemen come along. Middlemen come along when the systems and structures are not adequately developed and implemented to ensure that there is a strong link from production all the way to consumption and even marketing and export. In this context, then you find middlemen coming in to fill the gap that might be existing. To tackle this, and as a nation, there are various interventions that have been put in place. For instance, development of cooperatives. Cooperatives and aggregation centers play a very, very key role, particularly in bringing up producers together, ensuring that the producers are able to put together all their produce, whether from smallholder farmers or middle-level producers and farmers, to be able to market this produce to the areas where there is high demand. Another area to tackle the effects of middlemen is to strengthen logistics and the development across the various nodes of development. This entails interventions such as ensuring that the logistical framework and sector is structured, timed, and regular to ensure that right from the produce to the sale of the produce, there is no level of gap that may lead to wastage. Also, from the evidence that we have generated for the various individual value chains, it is clear that technology is playing a very key role. And this has helped the country to minimize on any gap that might have been there and that might have been exploited by the middlemen. This then means, with the evidence that we are going to discuss in the next 3 days, will enhance the various interventions that are critical to ensure that as a nation we go forward in production and also in ensuring that economic inclusion is enhanced.
So what does this conference maybe aim to achieve, some of the objectives?
The conference is going to achieve various objectives. The first one is to ensure that we come up with both short-term and long-term recommendations to enhance development of value chains in our country. This conference is also going to identify the key stakeholders in the value chains development, and this is important because for each stakeholder, it will be important to identify specific interventions, specific practices, and specific programs that we are going to implement for the various value chains that we are going to discuss for various products to ensure that there is improved productivity, enhanced competitiveness, and hence leading to reduction in unemployment, creation of quality jobs, ensuring that we reduce inequalities, ensuring that we reduce poverty, and in the long term, ensure that our country remains competitive both locally and in the global markets.
Therefore, what are some of these short and long-term interventions, maybe, as a profession?
In the short term, we are also looking forward to producing a communique which is going to have recommendations by the various sectors that we are going to discuss. For instance, one of the sectors that we shall be discussing is on agriculture, and hence, in the short term, we shall be able to identify what works in value chains in agriculture. The other area that we'll be discussing is in human capital development. The conference is going to help us come up with interventions to enhance skills development across the various production value chains, which could be in manufacturing, in services, or even in the primary production. In the short term also, we shall be able to identify the key partners and partnerships, because in value chains, there are strong interlinkages and also need for multi-sectoral approaches in terms of tackling the gaps that may exist in any given value chain. Further, this conference also will help us put more evidence on the table in terms of implementing our long-term plans, the Vision 2030, and also the medium-term plan, which is the medium-term plan 4, which identifies key value chains for development. This conference, therefore, enhances the national development agenda for our great nation, Kenya, and ensures that as a nation, we are able to go forward at the national level and at the county level to ensure that our national development agenda is achieved, which includes improved productivity, competitiveness, and quality job creation, while eradicating poverty and inequalities across regions, across sectors, and also across gender, in terms of ensuring that both men and women are included in all the production processes of our production systems. This also will help us in the long term identify emerging sectors, which include the digital economy, the blue economy, the grey economy, which are very key, and ensuring that we tackle any areas that will enhance our resilience in the global markets, given that as a nation, we are also facing other gaps and also other shocks that may be external to our nation, and hence we have to look at how they affected the development of value chains, how we ensure that we remain resilient, and how we ensure that productivity is enhanced across sectors and across regions. Thank you.
You talked about the digital economy, and of course I've seen in some of the 6 themes that you'll also be discussing, there's the issue of innovation and technology. And most of the time when you talk about the digital economy, we are talking about youth at a large extent. What is the place of youth in this conference and in the entire value chain?
Yes, The conference also tackles the issues of the digital economy. And this links to the role of youth because as a nation, 72% of our population are aged 35 years and below, which means the youth have a very critical space in this conference. And we have already started working with the youth. From the first day of this week, we were able to hold a workshop with the youth where we have taken them through the policy dimensions in value chains and policy making processes with the aim of opening their scope and ensuring that they are able to identify opportunities that come along the various nodes of value chains. In this conference then, and in the digital space, the youth will be playing a very critical role in terms of sharing the opportunities, sharing the areas of intervention, and also identifying programs that work for the youth. The conference also will be sharing evidence that we have generated as an institute in collaboration with our partners in terms of areas where jobs are being created in the manufacturing, in the agriculture, and also in the services sector for the youth, and ensuring that in skills development, the youth are given adequate support in terms of training to ensure that they fit the future of work, which is quite dynamic with major demands in terms of what is required of them. Hence, as we will be implementing this conference in the next 3 days, one of the areas we shall be discussing is human capital development and how we can deepen skills development in the various training institutions and tertiary institutions to ensure that the youth who come out of the education and training system are able to fit into the demands of the labor market. The youth also have a critical role in terms of value chains, particularly in processing and micro and small enterprises, and creating enterprises, innovations in the digital economy, which are very key in development and also in the value additions, while enhancing the competitiveness of their products, not only in the country, but also across the globe.
What tangible outcomes and long-term impacts do you expect?
One of the tangible outcomes from this conference is the communique that we are going to produce at the final day of this conference. And this communique is going to be informed by the evidence we shall be sharing during the plenary sessions, the technical sessions whereby researchers will be discussing and presenting evidence that they have produced during the year. This communique will be tackling specific areas, identifying responsibility and actors who are going to be involved in the implementation of the various recommendations. Further, the conference is going to help us come up with critical recommendations to ensure that as we implement the priorities in value chain development in the country, we shall be able to identify evidence-based recommendations and interventions that can take our nation to another level of development as a first world economy, whereby we are able to have high productivity, quality jobs, improved competitiveness, strong link between producers, processors, and also consumers, and also expanding our scope in the global market for the various products that we produce in various sectors, starting from manufacturing, agriculture, and also in services.
What is your call to action to stakeholders of this conference?
The data is clear in terms of our call for action. It is very evident from the evidence we have generated that agriculture, manufacturing, and services will continue to be key areas where jobs are going to be created, both in the short term and in the long term. It is therefore our call that we take up the evidence that we have generated, ensure that the various recommendations are implemented not only by us as government, but also by the various non-state actors, NGOs, the private sector, to ensure that productivity is enhanced in every area of our production processes, to ensure that jobs are created, and to ensure that the emerging sectors are adequately supported to provide for the objectives that they are meant to support. And this also touches on sectors like logistics, the blue economy, and taking into account emerging dynamics like impact of global disruptions, as well as the impact of climate change, which is having negative impact, particularly in production processes. This then calls for long-term interventions that enhance resilience of our economy in all the sectors, right from production up to processing and areas of logistics and consumption of our produce.
We know this is a 3-day event starting today and ending on Friday. Maybe just kindly highlight to us what are some of the expectations on day 1, day 2, and day 3 as we sum up.
During the first day, we shall be looking at the agricultural value chains. We are going to have various discussions, round tables, whereby we shall discuss with our stakeholders on interventions that are critical in the production processes. And here we look at agricultural value chains such as in tea, coffee, horticulture, and other produce as identified in the medium-term plan 4. During the day, we shall also be having technical sessions running parallel, whereby researchers are going to present evidence in the sectors of agriculture and also in the sectors that are related to productivity, to ensure that the evidence translates to recommendations that can be actioned and that can be implemented. During the second day, as we shall be having the official launch of this conference, we shall go further to look at critical sectors including manufacturing and the value chains in manufacturing. And later in the third day, we'll go further to look at human capital development. And during the second day, we shall also be launching evidence that we have produced with our partners, such as UNICEF, and this relates to areas of children and how to invest in a smart way for children, taking care of aspects of climate change. We shall also go further to discuss areas of county interventions to enhance development of programs that target on children and ensure that we are able to improve on how we invest smart in this young population. At the final day, we'll be able to come up with a communique and recommendations for implementation by the various stakeholders. We shall also be looking at areas of global value chains. We'll be able to look at the micro and small enterprises. We'll be able to look at manufacturing and industrialization. And during the conference, we'll be discussing on what works in value chains for job creation for the youth. And this is important because in human capital development, then we'll be able to tackle the aspects of sectors for job creation across the various value chains. Further, during the 3-day conference, we shall be able to tackle various capacity development interventions in the areas, levels of value chains, and also ensuring that we do not leave any sector behind, and all the stakeholders who have been invited will have space to discuss with us areas on what works and also innovations in the various nodes of our value chains, including the global trade sector. Thank you.
Apart from UNICEF and county governments, which other partners are you collaborating with?
We have various partners whom we are collaborating with, including IPPRA, ILO, we have PEP, we also have Staples, who shall be having a side event during the conference, whereby we are looking at the food value chain systems, not only in Kenya, but also with our neighboring countries and other countries in the South region. We also have various partners, including our parent ministry, the State Department for Economic Planning, and the National Treasury. We have the counties who are partnering with us, including the Council of Governors who will be represented. We have various private sector actors. We have Kenya Yearbook. We also have the World Bank. We have actors from the region, the NGOs who have supported us in various activities that we have been implementing as an institute. We also have the MCDF who will be participating with us in the first time during this conference, with the aim of enhancing connectivity, not only in Kenya, but also across the region and the value chains that come along. We also have partners in housing, for instance, the HFC, as well as the partners who have worked with us, like CIP, Huawei, who supported us during our youth event, where we brought the youth together before we started the conference. And this was quite key because we were able to expose our youth to the digital economy space. In this region, we have various organizations who are working with us, various state corporations, and various ministries who will be partnering with us continuously during this conference.
What is your parting shot and message to the stakeholders, maybe in 2 minutes?
My parting shot is this conference is key. As a nation, we have to invest in value chains. We have to invest in improving our productivity and competitiveness and ensuring that we do not leave anyone behind. And as we shall be seeing from work that we have done using the modeling of sectors that create greatest number of jobs, and this is work we have worked with our partners like KIPPRA, it is clear that value chains have great potential in job creation, and hence, as a nation and as a continent, we need to invest in improving productivity, improving inputs to ensure that our produce is of high quality, fetches high value both in the local and global markets, for improved job creation, reduced poverty, and enhanced competitiveness of our nation and our continent at large.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for your time, and we wish you all the best in the entire deliberations until Friday. Thank you. Well, that is Dr. Elda Onsomo, who is the Executive Director of KIPPRA, just giving us the highlights of this 9th regional conference that starts today and will be ending on Friday. From the Pride Inn Hotels Flamingo in Mombasa, back to in studio.